Morning. Really didn't intend spending the morning like bawling my eyes out and throwing up from feeling so shit. So I feel like I should probably explain. So let's start right at the beginning, like right at the very beginning, like the very beginning. So as many of you know, as some of you may well know, growing up I suffered from being bullied quite severely. It started off from being like because of my teeth, because when I was young, like I used to like suck my thumb and stuff like that, and basically it made my two front teeth come right out here, and I mean right out here. But it then obviously forced me to need braces. When I was still in primary school, I think it was the last year, so year 6, I think it was year 6, must have been, I had to get block braces. So they were literally like blocks, and they were like really hard plastic effectively, with like wire around the front, because my jaw had also been pushed back, forward, I think forward. So I had to get block braces so that it would then eventually push my jaw back so it's in a normal place, as well as trying to bring my front 2 teeth backwards. This then led on to a lot of harsh comments of being like the fact that my mouth was just always constantly full of like plastic or blocks or whatever you want to call them, but that ended up being a lot of comments made, yeah, just throughout that time. Also during that period, another thing that got me bullied for was the fact that basically there was a small child who decided that they were going to bring a metal toy plane into school, and they were playing with it in the garden, in the like outside play area, as I was walking through to get to my classroom. And basically the plane hit me in the chin and caused a scar. But I ended up having to be taken to hospital, and basically they thought I'd like chipped my jaw, or whatever that is. It's jaw, just the chin basically. Chipped the bone because of how hard it hit me, because it pierced my skin and basically almost went through. And they were very concerned and whatever, so that I went off to hospital, and I came back, and obviously because I'd got a mark there, like, teachers used to think that I had a piercing in my lip, even though they'd all been told about what had happened. And so because I used to get told off for having a piercing, it meant that all the kids were like laughing, because I was always the goody two-shoes at school, always was and always have been. And so all of the kids used to like be like laughing at me because I was getting told off and whatever. And obviously at that age it made me cry. Like, I used to get told off for absolutely no reason, so I found that very hard, in the fact that they were effectively picking on me for no reason. But I used to get called rabbit teeth all the time because of obviously my teeth being so far out, and it really hurt, basically. And as the years went on, obviously that kind of changed, because I gained train track braces on both sets of teeth, and that was year 7, I think. Year 7, possibly. Oh yeah, something else I didn't tell you was I had my block braces, was the fact that people used to try and rip them out of my mouth and like chuck them down drains and stuff like that. So I'd literally have to like get the grate up and get them back. And obviously I used to get told off for that as well, because obviously you're not supposed to take grates up, because obviously people fall down them. But obviously I needed to get my block brace back, so I used to get told off for that as well. But yeah, anyway, back to the story. Yeah, so I got train tracks. Obviously people used to be like, oh, you've got braces, oh, that's funny. Why that is funny, I don't know. But that always used to be a thing, and like I used to get severely bullied then for it, and it genuinely knocked my confidence. Like, I stopped smiling when I had my braces because I hated the way that I looked, and I've always been very aware of what people think of me, because people used to make it very clear of how they thought of me, and that's unfortunately kind of stuck with me, because obviously as I got older I then got into relationships and friendships and just coming across people basically, and people you always used to find better people than me, and that became a frequent thing. Like Zoe now, when we were in primary school, she was best friends with a girl called Amy, who we were supposedly both best friends with. I mean, we're still friends, like, well, acquaintances, because we don't see Amy very, well, we don't see her at all anymore. But when we were in primary school, Zoe and Amy used to run away from me and literally go and like hide in like the bushes or whatever, because we used to have like a hill with like bushes in. But they used to like run away from me and whatever, thinking it was funny, and that shit hurts. Basically is the be all and end all of that. But yeah, and then secondary school, obviously it was just me and Zoe, because we were loners, and then people came and went, we made friends, we then lost friends, and in more ways than one. And then because we started doing that, there was more and more people saying stuff about us, and obviously we were still goody two-shoes and whatever, but we got to a stage where we were in like year 9, something like that, where I got into my first proper relationship. Oh well. It was the one that lasted, I guess. Yeah. But that became a very big thing at school, and I used to even get bullied for that because the person I was with wasn't from school and they were older than me, and they were all like, oh, he only wants one thing, blah blah blah. And at that time I was only 13, so I was like, I was taking it to heart fully because it was like a big thing, because it was all new to me and whatever. And like, all my relationships have always been someone that's come between us, and like, not necessarily been cheated on by all of them, but there's always been at least one person that's not agreed with me or us or something like that. So that's kind of stuck. And I always used to get compared to people or to friends or to family, being like, oh, well, you should be doing what they're doing, or you should be like them, or well, she's prettier than you, or she's skinnier than you, or stuff like that. And I was constantly being put down, and it hurt a lot, because it was people that supposedly loved me at the time. And it's like, I look back on it now and be like, why the hell was I even in there? Why was I in that situation? Why did I put myself through that? But the stuff that hurts is the stuff that stays. So like, now I will constantly be getting like, well, not constantly, but like, Zoe always turns around and like Dom always turns around and be like, oh, you're really cute and like beautiful and whatever, and now I'd just be like, no, because I've been constantly knocked down and constantly put under that pressure of, you need to be better, you need to do this, you need to do that, and it's never quite been good enough. And so when somebody comes along and then is either already been there, or there is an inkling of wanting to go there or stuff like that, when, for example, with Dom, like, it's really difficult because I'm constantly sat there being like, well, she's better than me, well, she's skinnier than me, she's blonder than me, she looks better than me, she acts better than me, she talks better than me. And I'm constantly doubting myself as to whether I'm actually good enough, because I've always been put through the stages of, you're never good enough. And so, yeah. But the one thing that I've always said is, I'd never want to get in between friends. Yes, it's difficult because sometimes there's history, but at the same time, it shouldn't necessarily bother me. But obviously, because of my past and because people have always been putting me down and there's always been people that get in between us, I don't agree with being like close friends with people I've been involved with, because it's just not a thing in my head, because to me that's just being hurt again. And there's certain situations that I have to deal with now where it's like Dom's friends or whatever that talk to them all the time, and they, like, obviously we all want to meet up and whatever, and there is still an inkling in the back of my mind that's like, well, they're still better than me, they still got there first, or there still could be a thing, because at the end of the day, because of the way things worked out, between me and Dom, like when we first got together, like it was very quick, and there's been a few occasions where I've kind of doubted that and kind of gone, well, it was convenience because I was already involved in the fact that I was already interested and I actually already really liked him, and etc, etc. So when people kind of try and get involved, not necessarily to butt in, but to just like talk to and stuff, it's kind of hard. But obviously I've got to accept it, because otherwise we're never going to get anywhere in life. But yeah, I'm just being very careful because my neighbour's like in the front garden kind of like staring at me, being like, oh, why is she holding a camera? Again, it's that whole thing about being judged. It's great. But yeah, basically I just thought I'd explain, because that's kind of like the main thing, but there's also a lot of other stuff going off that I don't necessarily show on camera, that's like personal stuff, that's like stuff to do with the house, stuff to do with like family, and stuff to do with friends and stuff like that, that don't need to be spread all over the internet. And like the day that's caused the most amount of trouble is something I said whilst we were in London, is the fact that like people leaving group chats and stuff like that, like unannounced. There was 3 group chats that happened that day that one I was kicked out of because they didn't accept me into the company. It was something to do with theatre related. And then the other 2 were just friends who like obviously different friends, as in like there was one with me, mine and Zoe's friends, that we were trying to organise stuff for a birthday and whatever, and it just didn't work out. Everyone ended up arguing, and you know, it just didn't work, so everyone left. And then the same day there was one with me and Dom and his 2 friends, and they left unexpectedly, and we were like, okay. But that was because of the way I am, it made it seem like I didn't care about people, and so it came across as being like I didn't want them there and stuff like that, and that's not the case. It's just hard, you know. And we've spoken, and basically okay, and basically like like obviously it's going to be hard because of the situation and what's gone off and whatever, but at the same time I don't want to be that person who gets involved and just comes along and be like, well, you're not being friends with him, because at the end of the day it's not my place to say. Yes, it is my place to say, obviously, because I'm his girlfriend, but not to the extent of being like, oh, you're not being friends with her, because it just reminds me of like Michael and Joanna from Love Island and how controlling Joanna is. And like one of my exes went round somewhere that I now work and spread the fact that I was being controlling and I'm the worst girlfriend and no one ever get with me. And this was before me and Dom fully got involved, and it started to get between us, like when we were talking, because obviously he'd then heard the fact that I was supposedly this kind of person, and so why would he want to get involved with that kind of thing? And my main thing is the fact that because all this has been said, I've got to prove myself and prove the fact that I'm not that kind of person. And yeah. but that's kind of why everything kicked off this morning, because I got a message being like, why the hell did you say all this? And I was like, there's a lot of stuff that went off that day. So yeah, I apologise to everyone that I ever hurt and say stuff to, and the list goes on. But mental health is an absolute bitch, basically, because it controls your life and it gives you panic attacks and gives you anxiety, and you're worried about everything. So every situation you have to analyse before you go into it, and that's the difficulty. So I'm sorry. On a more positive note, I have just put my camera battery on charge because it started to flash at the end of that clip. But I'm also going to show you my outfit for today. Oh yeah, I've not actually told you what I'm doing today. Basically, I've got to sort out the little tiny room because hopefully we're extending the wardrobe whilst Dom's parents are up. So yeah, that's what I'm doing today. And then I am also going to an audition for the same company that I did Betty Blue Eyes with, but I've got to basically go to an audition to be in the company because I was just asked to do Betty Blue Eyes, not actually be in the company. But I want to do their next show, which is called Company. So I've got to obviously join the company rather than just turn up, because otherwise that would be like bad. Anyway, but that's what I'm doing today. So I am wearing this t-shirt which says, "Don't make me use my theatre voice." This is quite accurate for today because obviously I've gone through a lot of emotions today. I have been angry, I've been sad, I have been happy, and then now I'm just relieved. So yeah, this is kind of the t-shirt that I'm wearing today, with these jeans, which I think I wore yesterday, but I don't know. Must have done. But then I am also wearing, I'm going to use the mirror for this and attempt, no, it's not going to happen. Oh yeah, I've got my hair in like some up, some down in a bow. Oh, I don't know how to do this. And then I'm wearing, wow, that's great, well done me. My Betty Blue Eyes jumper, hoodie even, show hoodie from Betty Blue Eyes. No idea whether you can see that or not. Brilliant. So yeah, that's what I'm wearing today. And then I'm gonna wear, I don't know what shoes to wear. I'll think about that later. So I'm actually gonna have some breakfast, even though it is way past lunchtime. It's actually 1:45. Obviously I've been sat moping to myself. So I am gonna have some of these, and I am very excited to try these because they're supposed to be high in protein, high in fibre, and give you iron and vitamin D. So that sounds exciting. And and that's what gonna oh, okay. Oh, I thought I'd lost my bowl. Sorry, I forgot to put it away. Right, I'm gonna make me breakfast. So another trying something new. I am having a protein, peanut and chocolate Nature Valley bar, and I'm kind of excited to try this because it looks really, really nice. So I've just sorted all of this room out and sorted out. Whew. These still need to be hung up, but I'm gonna wait until the wardrobe is extended before I put anything else up. But yeah, everything's out the way. So it's now 20 to 5 and I'm still not really hungry, and I need to leave at like 6:30ish. So if I'm gonna eat, I should eat now. I might just leave it. I still need to cook it because Dom needs to eat his mince, so do you know what, I'll just cook it and put it in the fridge because I'm not going to eat it, so Dom can have it later. But first I need to wash the pots. Just made the food for Dom to eat tonight, and I've also made some more pasta, put it in a tub, and I've put some crisps in there, some chocolate in there, and then some biscuits in there, and I've put a little note in it, ready for tomorrow's Dom's lunch. Whoop whoop. So from following on from today's little chat, I remembered that I didn't actually tell you like the main bit. So I was on about now and whatever, and the fact that things bother me and whatever, but I wanted to tell you the fact that in 2014, beginning of 2014 I think, basically all this hate had got to me so much that it made me self-harm, and I was using a bread knife with my left hand because I knew I could control it, and using it on my right wrist. There's only really close friends, family, and like people close to me who actually kind of know that, because I was definitely going through a very bad time in my life at that point. So that happened, but basically I kind of forced myself out of that, and like various people had helped me and whatever, but I'd been given a book that I could write in, and you know, like write down how I was feeling and get it out of my system rather than doing that. So I found that helped so much, and I'm so grateful for that book because it is very full, annoyingly, unfortunately, but it just was so much better than doing that because obviously it's a lot less dangerous. But I found said book earlier, and that's what made me think the fact that I had not actually said anything about it. And what I was going to say is the fact that if you are thinking about doing stuff like that or going through a bad time, just write it down because it helps so much. It sounds so stupid, and when I first got the book I was like, really? Because that's gonna do nothing, but it actually does. And that was my get out, and that was how I dealt with stuff. And then I was okay for a while, and then I split up with, or he split up with me, but we split up anyway. It doesn't really matter, but the relationship that I was on about before my current one, obviously, we split up in the September of the year before last, 17. So it was 3 and a bit years, three and a half, something like that. But it was the best, like, best thing. Sounds really bad, but the best thing. But it did make me spiral quite a lot, and that book was used a lot, because that was my kind of thing of, well, that's kind of what I've been living for, effectively. But yeah, that happened. But yeah, it made me spiral, and I lost I want to say 2.5 stone, something like that. I went down to 6.5. I don't know, yeah, 6.5 stone in the May. Like, I gradually lost it over the months, but in May I clocked it at 6.5. And if you go back through my Instagram, there's a picture, or there's pictures of me and Zoe when we had like a mini photo shoot, and you can see like how tiny I was, but it was unhealthy. Like, there was no way that that was a good weight at all. But then I met Dom, and then he started feeding me, and that was kind of when I like gained more weight and came back to a healthier weight, even though I'm like I'm too much at the minute, but I'm a good too much. That's me going I'm too much, not an actual too much, you know what I mean. But yeah, I just wanted to say that, and at the moment I am very happy with our relationship and happy with life, and I'm just getting on with it basically, because that's what you gotta do. You just gotta pick yourself back up and walk through with your chin up, head up, smile through it, and just stick by the people who are going to stick by you. So obviously Dom and Zoe, they were there for me throughout and probably always will be. So yeah, that's the best advice I could probably give, is just surround yourself with people who love you, and just kind of write in a book and just try and think differently and look at things differently. Simple things like a cup is half full, not half empty. So yeah, it's just training your brain. That's all I've got to say now. I said the rest. Right, I'm gonna have to leave shortly, so I'm gonna pop off and probably not film until after I get back. So bye for now. So I am back from my audition, and the situation's kind of escalated, I'm not gonna lie. After all that, after I thought like we'd all finished with the whole situation, and I thought it was okay, trying to be nice and trying to like get over stuff and get on with it, but like, people still just being petty about stuff and just contradicting themselves, and it's just like, why? What is the need? I just want the day to be over, I'm not gonna lie. I'm so done. So done. One thing that's really frustrating is I get angry so quickly and so irritated so quickly. So I was all happy like after my audition, and it was so nice to be there and see everyone again. I came back and I was fine, and Tom was really happy, and it was really, really nice. And then, because obviously I wanted to see what was going off, then we obviously talked about stuff and said what was said and whatever, and I just flipped, because that's what people do. They make me flip, because I can't deal with that. Why would someone say that? Why would someone deny saying stuff to me just because the person that they're talking to wasn't actually there to witness that? And yet they've just been on about the fact that they're gonna read it. Like, I'm gonna read it. Like, well, yeah. Couples are like a package. They don't just go off on one by themselves, do they? Like, it's not a thing. I think that's the whole point of being in a couple, is that you're involved with each other. But people aren't okay with that, apparently.